And I want to show you something that the president posted tonight. It's a photo of what he says is your client's left hand. You can see his knuckles there, and the president is showing these tattoos that the White House alleges reveals that he's a member of MS-13. I should note, the photo has been doctored because the actual MS-13 that you see at the top, that's not actually a tattoo. That's what they're saying the tattoos portray.
Ironically, but unsurprisingly, Donald Trump and the Trump White House just got busted spreading literal fake news. On social media, Trump and the Trump White House are actually sharing a digitally altered photo, a fake photo, to spread anti-immigrant authoritarian propaganda, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, as you know, Donald Trump is an inveterate liar, an unparalleled liar, infinitely more dishonest than any Democratic politician who has ever lived. And here we have an example of him spreading not just propaganda, not just lies, but fake news on his own terms, a fake photo. And the Trump White House is doubling down. So here's the initial Truth Social. This is the hand of the man that Democrats feel should be brought back to the United States because he is such, quote, a fine and innocent person. They said he's not a member of MS-13, even though he's got MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles, and two highly respected courts found that he was a member of MS-13, beat up his wife, etc. I was elected to take bad people out of the United States, among other things. I must be allowed to do my job. Make America great again. And so Trump took a photo of himself holding up a fake photo, we'll get into that, of the hand, allegedly, of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and on his knuckles in this photo are the letters MS-13. That's the image. It is a fake image that Trump is holding up and making the centerpiece of his anti-immigrant propaganda. Now, that wasn't bad enough. The Trump White House is actually doubling down on it. Again, this is the official Twitter page of the Trump White House. If it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. So they are doubling down on this. Problem is, it's a fake image. It's a fake image, and we'll get into this. CNN's Caitlin Collins actually exposed this, or was one of the leading voices exposing this on CNN. She calls it out on live TV.
One thing that we've heard from the legal team, and against this allegation from the White House, is about his history. I know that you've said he doesn't have a criminal history, that he had never been arrested for anything before. People at the White House have pointed out to me, they say that doesn't mean that he wasn't a member of MS-13. There's not always criminal activity on someone's record if they are in a gang. And I want to show you something that the president posted tonight. It's a photo of what he says is your client's left hand. You can see his knuckles there, and the president is showing these tattoos that the White House alleges reveals that he's a member of MS-13. I should note, the photo has been doctored because the actual MS-13 that you see at the top, that's not actually a tattoo. That's what they're saying the tattoos portray. What is your reaction to this photo?
Yeah, my reaction is this is just a continuation of the distraction. This case is not about whether Mr. Abrego Garcia is good or bad, whether he is or isn't in MS-13, whether he should be able to remain for the rest of his life in the U.S. or not. This case is about the simple fact that he was removed without due process, and if it can happen to him and the government pushes back at every turn, despite 3 different courts ordering them to return him.
So we're going to stop right there. As you can see here, they actually have a recent photo of Kilmar Abrego Garcia because Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland actually traveled to El Salvador and eventually pressured the El Salvadoran government to let him meet Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And here's a photo, a recent photo, the colored photo of his hand, and the letters and numbers MS-13 are nowhere to be found. It is a doctored photo based on all available evidence. And Trump at the White House not only presented this, but they're doubling down on it.
Then who's next?
We had the border czar, Tom Homan, on last night, and his argument that he made to me was one, that 2019 ruling from an immigration judge who technically was working for President Trump was meaningless. But he also said that if your client is brought back to the United States, he'll just be deported again to a third country. If that happened, legally, do you think you'd be able to prevent that?
Yes. So what is actually the process is that the government has to move to reopen his case because he was granted relief by a judge, as you mentioned, under the Trump administration. More importantly, that the Trump administration government, DHS, did not appeal and chose to release him after. Keep that in mind. But they can move to reopen. They can introduce evidence, give him the opportunity to present his case, and let a judge decide. And a judge's decisions are not meaningless. Otherwise, we have no rule of law.
So I appreciate the Abrego Garcia's attorney, Rena Gandhi, like not even rising to the debate of, is Kilmar Abrego Garcia MS-13 or not? Because the fact of the matter is, and I know this might make some people uncomfortable, it doesn't matter for all intents and purposes with respect to why people are upset. Due process is indeed afforded to people in this country, residents, legal residents, undocumented residents, American citizens, naturalized citizens. It doesn't matter. That's the whole bedrock principle of our legal system, due process. If the government, local, state, or federal, are going to attempt to restrict your liberties, let alone deport you, they have to actually prove it. There has to be a process, and it applies to everybody. Well, what about murderers? Yes, even murderers. What about rapists? Yes, even rapists. What about carjackers, thieves, gang members? It doesn't matter. That is something that they are afforded no matter what, no matter if you like it or don't like it or like them or don't like them. It doesn't matter. It is irrelevant. But I will note that there is no substantial evidence to indicate that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13. And if they had the evidence, this is the other thing, the tacit concession of all this, the fact that they are reduced to generating and peddling and doubling down on fake photos, is further proof that they don't actually have the evidence to substantiate or corroborate their claims. Because why spread a fake photo when you could provide real photos of the real guy's hands or real photos of evidence? Like, what? This is proof. Like, you're doubling down because you don't have the goods. Friend of the show, Mehdi Hassan, pointed this out. This is false. The official White House government account is sharing a doctored image and a post from the president making a false claim. He doesn't have MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. It's true, he doesn't have it. They're doubling down anyway, which says all sorts of things. They are inveterate, unparalleled liars. Democratic politicians lie, have lied, will continue to lie, but Republican politicians are just objectively far more dishonest, and anyone who tells you otherwise is themselves a liar or an idiot, or, perhaps most charitably, ignorant. Perhaps they don't know that there is an asymmetry here, but it's here. We've just never seen anything like this from a Democratic president. And the shamelessness is their superpower. They don't care. They're doubling down. But to get more into the story. However, Matt Novick of Gizmodo pointed out on Blue Sky that a photo of Abrego Garcia with Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland Thursday clearly shows the deportee's left hand. The characters MS-13 are nowhere to be found. And yet again, the Trump White House is doubling down anyway. Again, it's a tacit concession. They've got nothing on him to justify what they've done. And here's the thing, even if they did, even if they know, here's the overwhelming evidence that he's an MS-13 member, you still have to afford him due process. No matter what, on the merits, the Trump administration loses this. They're wrong. They will always be wrong. There's nothing that can change that because it doesn't matter what he is and what they can prove. They denied him due process. Unfortunately, they can't even prove their claims in the first place. That's the problem here. And so the guy and the politician and the movement that popularized the expression fake news, right, really brought it into the American zeitgeist, actually peddles fake news, literal fake news, fake photos, doctored images in ways we've simply never seen liberals and progressives and the Democratic Party do. The very man who but again, elevated the phrase is now indulging in its application, actually is peddling fake news in ways we've never seen before. And the White House doesn't care. They don't care. They do not care because they're in power and they recognize that this fake news, this meme, this picture will circulate, with your MAGA uncle, and he's going to remember this and he's going to oh, see, there's proof right there that, MS-13, guys even got tattoos, clearly MS-13. Like it's going to persuade millions of people, or rather have millions of people double down on their already, resolute preconceptions. But they don't care. We've just never seen this level of shameless dishonesty in an administration before. But that's where we are. And that's what they're reduced to because they can't prove their case on the merits. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.